Have you ever sat across the table from your adult child, maybe with a warm cup of tea, the room quiet, and they said something that just didn't feel right? Not cruel, not loud, but it stayed with you. A sentence that sounded innocent, yet it left you unsettled. It felt like more than just words. It felt like a quiet push, like a shift of weight onto your shoulders. You love your children. Of course you do. But somewhere along the way, the lines between support and sacrifice became blurry. This video is not about turning your back on your kids. It is about recognizing the difference between love and being used, between being needed and being depended on for too much. If you have ever walked away from a conversation with your grown child and felt tired, drained, or quietly guilty, this message is for you. We are going to explore 5 phrases that may seem simple, even sweet, but beneath the surface, they may be signals that you are being taken for granted, financially, emotionally, or both. Let us begin, because your time, your peace, and your dignity matter. 1. You're the only one I can count on. At first, this sounds like deep appreciation. You are the only one I can count on. It makes you feel special, needed, important. But over time, that phrase can become heavy, because it is not always a compliment. Sometimes, it is a strategy. What follows after this sentence? Is it a request for money, a place to stay, free childcare, emotional support for a life they continue to mismanage? You see, when your grown child says this often, especially in stressful or demanding situations, it can quietly shift the responsibility of their adult life onto your shoulders. And if you are retired, living on a fixed income, or simply trying to enjoy your later years, that is a burden you should not be carrying anymore. Here is the truth that many parents struggle to accept. You are not their emergency plan. You were their safety net once, but now they must stand on their own. Let me give you an example. A 68-year-old gentleman named Richard told us he gets a phone call from his son at least once a month, always starting with, "Dad, you're the only one I can count on." It ends with a loan, or a ride, or babysitting, or even emotional counseling. At first, Richard felt proud, but years later he realized he was being used, not maliciously, but consistently, without regard for his time or energy. He said to me, "It's like I'm the backup plan to everything in his life." But who's my backup plan? Think about that. If you feel like someone only reaches out when they need something, then it is not love, it is a lifeline, and you are the one always holding the rope. You can love your child deeply, but that does not mean you must carry them through every challenge, especially when it starts to cost you your peace, health, and sense of freedom. 2. It's just a small favor. You're not doing anything anyway. Now, this one. This one cuts deeper than most people realize. It's just a small favor. You are not doing anything anyway. Those words carry a quiet disrespect, because what they are really saying is, your time is not valuable. You may be retired. You may not clock into a job anymore, but that does not mean you are idle. You have goals, routines, personal plans. Even if your day includes rest, reflection, a walk, or reading, that time matters. Being older does not mean you are endlessly available. You are not an on-call assistant, and you are not a backup babysitter. Let me tell you about Marlene, a 74-year-old grandmother from Arizona. When her daughter went back to work, she asked Marlene to watch her 2 toddlers just for a few days. Marlene agreed, but a few days became a few weeks, and then months. Whenever she tried to say she needed a break, her daughter would say, "But Mom, it's just a few hours. You are not really doing anything today, right?" Marlene began to feel invisible, like her needs and energy simply did not matter. Eventually, she had to set a hard boundary, and it was not easy. But once she did, she realized how long she had been neglecting herself to keep peace in the family. That sentence, "You are not doing anything," is a form of quiet control. It makes you question your right to rest. Let me be clear. Rest is not laziness. It is earned. It is necessary. Your time does not lose value just because you are retired. 3. We just thought you'd want to help. This one is very tricky. We just thought you'd want to help. Sounds kind, does it not? But notice, they did not ask. They assumed. And that is the first red flag. In healthy relationships, help is requested, not expected. When your children say this, they are implying that your natural role is to provide, no matter the circumstance. And if you hesitate, you are suddenly made to feel cold, uncaring, or selfish. But here is the hard truth. Love is not a blank check. And good parenting does not mean endless giving. Let me share a story. Eugene, 70, was proud to help his adult daughter during her divorce. He gave her a room in his home, helped financially, watched her kids. But 3 years later, she was still living there, with no job, no plans, and no signs of change. When Eugene finally tried to talk about moving forward, she said, "I just thought you wanted to help. I thought you liked having us here." That comment cut deep. He realized that his support had turned into a lifestyle for her, and that guilt was keeping him from reclaiming his own home. It is not wrong to want to help. It is wrong to be taken for granted. You are allowed to pause, to question, and to say no without guilt. Because being a good parent does not mean being used. It means knowing when to help and when to let go. 4. We can pay you back later. Ah, the promise of later. You have probably heard it before. A small loan, a little help, just until I get my next paycheck. We'll pay you back next month. Or, once we get on our feet. And perhaps you agreed, because you love them, you want to help. But how many of those later actually came? This phrase can be one of the most dangerous for older adults, because it plays on your trust, your patience, and your hope. But here's the reality. Hope does not pay the bills. Let me share a cautionary tale. Linda, a 66-year-old widow, lent her son $10,000 to get through a rough patch. He said he would pay her back in 6 months. That was 5 years ago. Now, Linda's roof needs repairs, her car broke down, and her savings are dwindling. Her son? Still struggling, still asking for more. Every time she brings it up, he says, "I haven't forgotten, Mom. I'll pay you back later." But later never came. Here is the hard truth. If your children are not actively working to repay you now, there is no guarantee they will ever repay you in the future. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to ask. This is your retirement, not a revolving loan fund. You do not have time to rebuild everything you have already built once. Helping once is kindness. Helping always is enabling. 5. You owe me. After everything I've been through. This one is perhaps the hardest to hear, because it flips the script. Suddenly, your adult child is no longer asking for help. They are demanding it, not out of need, but out of guilt. You owe me. Why? Because of their struggles, their past, their pain. You may love them deeply. You may feel sorry for what they endured. But that does not make you their bank, their therapist, or their retirement plan. And most importantly, it does not make you guilty. Let me tell you about Gerald, age 73. His son struggled with addiction, made poor financial choices, and ended up homeless. Gerald stepped in again and again. But one day, when Gerald finally refused another loan, his son said, "After everything I've been through, you owe me this." Gerald froze. He realized that love had been replaced with entitlement. That phrase, "you owe me," is emotional blackmail. It turns your kindness into a debt, and that is never okay. You are a parent, not a puppet. You are a human being with limits, not a bottomless well of giving. If anyone, even your child, uses guilt to get what they want, it is a sign that something has gone wrong. Let us be clear. This is not about turning away from your children. It is about seeing clearly, about loving wisely, because when love becomes expectation, when help becomes duty, when giving becomes guilt, you are no longer parenting, you are being used, and you deserve better. Your time is precious, your voice matters, your boundaries are not rejection, they are self-respect. So the next time you hear one of these phrases, pause, take a breath, and remember, you have given enough. Now is your time to receive peace, not pressure. If this message spoke to you, please let us know in the comments. Have you heard any of these phrases before? What did you do, or what do you wish you had done? And if you want more real, respectful advice for navigating life after 60, please tap like, share this with a friend, and subscribe to Wisdom for Elders. Your voice matters, your story matters, and we are honored to walk this journey with you. Until next time, take care of yourself. You have earned it.